Many people look at Dave's forward price to earnings ratio and conclude Dave is an amazing investment, but today I would like to provide you one or two cautions that I have for the company. It's not a bearish video. I'm just going to show you some of the legal cases for Dave, some things that you should be looking out for if you're thinking about taking a position in Dave or if you already have a position in Dave. All right, let's first start off with the DOJ. All right, and let's just jump right in here. Let's start off with the DOJ here. So the Department of Justice, they're bringing forth the fact that Dave is using this 500 figure a lot in their marketing, which is definitely true. Now, what they're alleging is that there's often only 1 in 45,000 people who are actually getting this large rate right when they're signing up. And they're categorizing this as misleading marketing. Additionally, they're also saying that the consumers are needing to use a monthly subscription in order to be using these services, and often the consumers weren't told about the subscription in advance or it wasn't made clear to them, and that it was also very hard for them to cancel that subscription after the fact they had already signed up for it. And then also the customers often are going to be paying a tip, and this is something I want to show you right here. So sorry for the blurry images. I couldn't find any better ones, but as we can see here, this is the interface for Dave. This is from a few years ago. They've actually taken away the tip system from their UI, but if you drag this down right here, as you can see, the girl is like smiling, happy. She gets sadder, and then she has no food left, right? So kind of trying to spike to resonate with the consumers here, and this is categorized as being deceptive, and often, as we can see, they would donate a meal for every percent that you would tip, and then often it was found that a lot of the money was going just straight to Dave and not actually going to Feeding America, the charity that was integrated with Dave. So those are some things DOJ is claiming. This case certainly has some larger implications. This suit could result in a few different things. It could result in a lump sum fee for doing these misleading actions, which Dave is able to stomach quite easily. They're sitting around $90 million in cash for a $2.5 billion company, and their margins are quite healthy, around 30%. Their incomes are really strong for the company. So I wouldn't be too worried about a lump sum here, but what I'm more worried about is a permanent change in the structure of Dave. If Dave has to operate at a legal interest rate, if we're saying that these extra cash advances are loans, then Dave's business model is pretty screwed because they're operating off the fact that you're getting small fees but at a very short amount of time, right? Because their average loan length 11 days, right? Just like that. So the problem isn't that they're charging their customers a lot of money. The problem is that their duration is so short, which is really good for the company, really good for shareholders, but for consumers and for lawmakers, it can be seen as predatory, right? So next, I want to go into these class arbitration consumer claims right here. So a problem here is that there's around 600 people filing a suit against Dave because they believe that they weren't shown the fee structure correctly, and they believe that they should be seeing some repayment based on the fact that they weren't clearly shown the fee structure. The only thing that can really happen here is that lump sum. This is actually something that happened Lopez versus Dave, which we'll get to in just a moment. Now we go to Baltimore. This is one that has a little bit more implications on Dave, something I'll be a little bit worried about. So Baltimore is suing because they believe that they're operating way above that 33% cap on annual interest rates. Dave's core claim is that they're offering early access to people's wages, right? Like if I'm going to make $200 tomorrow, I can take out a loan with Dave and maybe pay like $5 or $10, right? But then when your average loan length is 11 days, turns out you're paying a large amount of interest, right, on that loan, like over 100% interest. Often you'll possibly see it in 200, 400% interest range. So people who are financially savvy see that and see it as a ripoff, right? But for people who have no other way to get that money, it's not seen as predatory. It's seen as an opportunity for them to be able to get that money in time because they need that money now. So that's kind of how I view this service. Maybe you view it differently. And as I said before, Lopez versus Dave. Take a look at this. So this has already been this has already been settled. So 1.2 minus zero point 0.6, and you got a zero point 0.6 million settlement payout. And then the last one we've got here is PA. So this one also is very similar to Baltimore, and this could majorly affect the proceedings of Dave in Pennsylvania, which could harm their business practices, right? This is the core problem I see with Dave. This is really what's keeping me from buying right now. It's just the fact that there's a lot of legal trouble with Dave right now, and I don't care if they get fined that lump sum, right? But if they are forced to make permanent changes in their business model, the business is done. I mean, they can't operate at this 36% interest. They would just go bankrupt. But what they are moving towards is some other services. They're actually going to be offering more credit opportunities besides earned wage access, such as buy now, pay later, which is actually a really smart move, I believe, for them because a lot of their users are using BNPL services. So this actually has a ton of opportunity with Dave. And I'm really excited to see how consumers react to their BNPL services for this company. And I'm really excited to see how Dave moves forward into the future. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. It's very low valued for the amount of growth that's happening. The only other risk I see with the company is, and the thing that I see often, is that the customer acquisition cost is so low because we've got that core group of consumers who are going to be using Dave, right? And then the next, to double consumers, it's going to be so much more expensive. That's what the claims are of a lot of the analysts who are going over Dave. So whether that's true or not, whether this is going to materialize, I'm not sure. But I do know that a investment in Dave is definitely not lucrative.